Hey, everybody. I saw Michael there for a second. I'm Steph.
Hi, Michael.
And I guess we're here for a top 10, right? We're going to do our top
Woo!
10 games learned in December. I know Twitch is having some issues right now with chat, but
Twitch is having serious issues.
we
I
hope we
at
can.
first I could connect from my phone and then not from the PC, and now I can connect from the PC but not from the phone.
It's so weird.
So yeah,
Some things are going on. So hopefully that corrects itself in the meantime, but I figured we could at least start with our
hey,
list because
I'm wearing the same shirt I was wearing in
in
the
that
intro.
picture, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good
check that
shirt.
out.
Peace,
It's
love, and
peace, love, and
meeples.
meatballs.
Yay!
There we go.
Oh man. So happy New Year to everybody joining us today. Hopefully you have a lot of fun new games you get to learn this year. Hey, I just
Yep,
wanted to start off with my totals for the year. Is that
they
cool?
were impressive.
It was impressive. I learned 500 new games in 2020. I 733 of the 32 of them were unique, and 1733 plays. It's a lot. I mean,
That's
that
great.
like crushed my 2019 like totals. I think I
I
learned.
mean, how does this happen during a pandemic? I don't understand.
So I think this happened because one, a lot of people were available, so I was getting a lot of online gaming with my friends and whoever was available. You were here basically the whole time because you weren't going into work, so that gave us a lot of extra time to play games and learn
Yeah, with
games.
no commute time means 2 extra hours a day
That's what I'm
is really good.
saying. That's what I'm saying. So I think just between those two things going on, it just like resulted in like crazy numbers this year. I mean, last year I think I played a total of 1,400 games or 1,200 games. It was like super low, like compared to this year, whatever it was. I think I just looked. It was 1,200. I don't even know, but it was 450 new games last year, 630 unique games, and like 1,200 total plays.
That's just weird.
It's just weird, right? It's like crazy the difference, but you know what?
I
I'm
mean, you
just
had 10-day conventions
I
in
know,
there
I
in
know.
2019. You had
But
all sorts of other
I
fun
think in
times.
like February I moved, so there was like a lull of no games
All
during
that
that
transition.
transition to here.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just excited for a new year, new stats. Hey, Michael, does that mean you are going to play games and get the BG Stats app and start recording them?
Maybe.
I've been yelling at Derek to do the same. Like, yeah, start keeping track. It's interesting to it's at first when I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But then I started doing it. I'm like, yeah, this is like awesome.
All right,
I
where
see
is
all
this
the
thing?
things. I see all my
BG
stats.
stats.
I think it's like $3, but I mean, it's like the amount that I use it and keep track of things, and it's just
Or
it's gone up $1, but still
yeah.
worth it.
With in-app purchases, so I don't know what the in-app
If you
purchases.
want to do challenges that they offer, like the 10 by 10 challenges or things like that, you can make your own challenges. So they offer
Okay,
those kind.
fine. I bought it.
Oh, because this month he's like, I need to see what games you played. Because he learns new games that I've not necessarily learned because like I know for example we have like Viscounts on the shelf and I've already played it but he has not and I'm sure he's gonna like Viscounts. So whenever that comes around and we talk about new games, that will be a new game for him but not for me. So he can't just look at
And
my new games and say, oh, okay.
yeah, How is going to be another one that you will have played in December, but I
Yes,
will play at some
probably
later time.
February whenever that gets released from Miniature Market. So I'm excited. I'll just have to remind you, hey, log it in your plays. And so if you play Advanced Civ today, that will be a game you played this month that I did not. But
Game number one.
you've already have played that before, so that won't show up on
Yeah.
your list. But it could show up on if we
Well,
start.
I've played it before, but it will be my first time on board game stats. So will it show up as a new game to me?
Yeah,
So I just have to keep track in my head.
or
This is
yeah,
pre
you can
2020.
sort it
Yeah.
by like month of January. You already know you've played that game. You know what I mean?
All right.
So like, yeah.
I can't be leeching off of you and Scott from my stats, Derek says.
No, I mean you can to some extent, but you don't play all the games with me. You do play games with other people.
Yep.
So it's yeah, it just kind of yeah. I mean, if we kind of go through the year and be like, what were some of the highlights? Like winning the mind, for example. That's like a huge highlight.
That
We
was like
both
really
played
awesome.
that before. We didn't learn it this year, but I think that's probably the ultimate highlight for any year. Like that's like the best thing that ever happened. So it's just like moments like that. You just yeah, just
Yeah.
awesome.
And not just beating the mind in the dark.
In the dark. Yeah.
So,
And we beat the mind
oh,
extreme, but that wasn't nearly as satisfying.
yeah, because there's not really a dark mode because there's like dark sides simultaneously, mixed in with all the light modes.
Oh,
So
Michael's hosting. I need to move that because that's kind of like in the way.
your little star is like,
Actually, I could put it up here.
I'm on top of the star. Just bring it to the front. There you go.
Yeah,
Hey, with one viewer, guess who it is? Might
Misty.
be
No,
me. No.
she's watching us right now. I
Yep.
see her in chat. Thanks for joining us, Laura. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Dr. Sign. Um, I know the Twitch chat is kind of being weird. People can't really post, but as soon as people can, we'll see your comments in there. So, should we start off with our top 10, Michael?
Sounds good.
Excellent. So,
I guess I'm first.
what is your number 10 game that you learned?
Well, there's several of them that just barely missed the list, and I felt bad. It's like, that almost makes the list, but doesn't quite get there. And I had to redo it a couple of times just to say, okay, which of these would I rather see on there? And you can't just say, which of these games would I rather play? Because it's different depending on the time. Because, I mean,
Situations. Some of
if
them are
it's late at
party
night,
games, some of them are.
exactly.
Yeah, I totally get
Yeah,
that.
I just want a really quick game. Sometimes I want a big meaty game, and sometimes,
Yeah,
and
like
so it
6 o'clock, he wants a big meaty game. At 11 o'clock, he wants a really light game. At 11 a.m., he wants a really light game because he's just waking up.
So yeah, my number 10 game is Gods Love Dinosaurs.
Ooh,
Um,
nice. Yeah, that just
it's got
barely missed my list.
that
So,
barely missed yours and barely made my list. It's it's got some abstract elements, and I'm not a big abstract gamer, but I like the little puzzly aspects. There's actually a lot of those games this month, abstract puzzly type games. Like
yeah.
Winter Queen just barely missed my list, but it's another one of those that almost could have been in that number 10 position. It's got that puzzly aspect, that abstract puzzly aspect that I like.
I didn't think
Um,
you liked that.
which one? Winter Queen?
Oh, no, just the puzzly abstract nature of a game. It's not
I,
usually something you enjoy, and
well, it depends.
generally.
It depends if it's got collection of resources to get points or end game victory conditions or things like that. There can be good aspects of that. Um, I don't like chess-like movement a lot of times, and Gods Love Dinosaurs does have a little bit of that, but I think there's enough of that risk and reward sort of thing
Mm,
where you have to, yeah, do I spawn these dinosaurs now and risk them eating all the food or not getting any food and just dying off? Or do I have the predators eat all the prey really quickly? Do I let the prey expand another turn? And the thing that actually put it over the top into my top 10, into the number 10 position, was the drafting of the tiles.
yeah, I
And when
agree.
that
I like
third
that.
tile is drafted, then it activates all of those animals. And I think that's just not, plain old, this piece moves this direction, this piece moves that direction. That is actually, okay, which decision do I take to activate just these animals? And I'm going to activate
Yeah.
yours as well. So
Exactly. So that's where it's like kind of cutthroat a little bit. You're like, oh, Steph doesn't want that to happen right now. Let's do
yeah,
it.
I like cutthroat games better than you do, and that's going to be shown later on in the stream. So
Yeah, that's fair. Dan says my tastes are in abstracts are similar. So there
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
I,
I don't like the dry abstracts. I have to have something else in there, and if something else is in there, then it really works for me.
Shrey says Docmus is my favorite abstract, and I happen to agree. I love me some Docmus. I don't know if you've played that, Michael, but
I have not. We're gonna have to
it's
play it.
very interesting. It's very
You know
interesting.
what? With all of your games that you have played already, um, I could actually end up with more new to me games than you have in 2021.
I totally
So
agree. I totally agree.
the challenge is on.
It's challenges on, especially if we do end up going to big conventions towards the end of the year where we meet up with old friends and we play old favorites, but you might not have played those old favorites. Like for example, in
Exactly.
2019 you learned Scythe, right? And so
Yep.
you
And you had
know
already played it.
yeah, oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
lots and lots of Scythe in my day, in my day.
In your day, old woman.
old hag.
So
So I play a lot of games, right? But I don't know. You know my friend Deb, right? She
mhm.
plays like more than me. She's the one person who plays like more games than me. And she's like, yeah, with all the online gaming, she's like, I played 1,200 easy just in online games with friends this year. I'm like, yeah, I know you've played a lot, and she probably learns as many as me, if not a few more. But she's scared to look at her stats for 2020. But I'm curious. But it's like she plays so many games because she's as addictive as I am to these board games. Like we're like, she's like the older version of me. She's just like all in all the time. And so I'm just like, oh yeah. So I'm like, what does she play? Because she plays a lot of games and she plays a lot of older games. But I'm like, I'm never gonna catch up to her because she's always like, she's in it like crazy like me. And so that kind of reminds me of some situation like that where she's played everything and I played like nothing. Like I feel like I played nothing compared. So
Well,
like
eventually you're going to want to replay a lot of your collection. I mean, we've talked about, doing, playing all of the A games, all of the B
it's just
games.
never gonna happen though.
And
It's
it's
not feasible to
because
happen.
of how many new games that you've got to review. But maybe we could do something like that where we play whenever we have time to play. We're just going to play A games or something, just to get them played on the shelf. And that's going to have a lot of games that are new to me. So that'll be really good.
Well, the BG Stats app will help with that because you can import your
It will.
BGG collection and see what you've played, and be like, oh, kind of go down the list. But now the difference is yours has expansions as owned, where mine does not. So I just have the board games and not the expansions.
Right. But I'm not going to list it as played this expansion. So
No, I know. But yeah. Okay, so my number 10. I guess I should continue this list. My
yeah.
number 10, maybe higher on yours. I'm not sure, but it is Cloud City. Cloud City is an abstract game. I mean, so it's fairly light. Now, my biggest deterrent for this game is the color scheme. And if it had better colors and better like just attractiveness, I think it would be higher for me. I know that sounds like shallow or whatever, but like I don't know. I just hate the colors. I really hate the colors of this game. Like, so it
I'm
kind
not,
of.
I don't know if I should spoiler it by saying whether it's on my list or not.
I know. I have no idea if it's on your list. I don't even know what his list is. He knows what
Um,
my list is because it's easy because I posted my top
yeah,
all the
you
games
get your
learned in
list
December
posted.
today. Uh, so I have no idea what your list is, but Cloud City is nice because you're drafting these tiles. They're in your hand. You're playing them down, and you're putting down these buildings. So you're kind of thinking about how the buildings are going to be placed because they're different sizes, and so the taller ones can make bridges across the lower ones, but they will also be blockers for the littler buildings. So you kind of want to have the little buildings in the center, the medium buildings on the middle ring, and then the big buildings on the outer ring that are all connecting to each other. So you're trying to score from these bridges. And so it's interesting. I mean, it plays out pretty quickly, and it was impressive. And I'm glad it made my list because I do like it. It's definitely one I would play more. I don't know, like in the long haul standing, like where it falls, but for now I'm enjoying it.
Yep. It's got whenever the long bridges run out, then you've got a problem. If you were planning to put brown to brown connection, for example, which those are the ones that usually have the long connections that run out. Then you could be in a problem if you've already got more than three tiles going one direction. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, you've beaten me both times we played, so that's lame. Happy New Year, Mom. She's out there in the
Now,
chat.
I will go ahead and spoiler and say that it did not make my list.
Okay, so
So
maybe it was off the list, but I feel like it was probably close to being on your list.
it was close. It was close. But there's several of them. It was sort of like last month. Everything from a certain point on, it sort of depends on the time of day and how I'm feeling,
Yeah,
whether I'd rather play one versus another. But hey, ultimately, I got to pick a top 10, and
exactly. We actually didn't have a bad month of new games. I mean, so there were a
it's
fair
pretty good.
number of solid games on the list, and then a couple like that were like super yum.
But there are several on the
That
list
were
that are going to surprise you,
super
and might
yum.
surprise some of the people. Super Yum is well, I mean, I don't want to get to my number 9 game yet.
We all know where that
We all
falls.
know it's Super
You know
Yum.
what? Maybe if we redesigned Super Yum, it would be on the list.
I did redesign it. I'm just waiting for DoorDash to call me and say, "Hey, we'll hook you up with free DoorDash for life."
Oh my god. True.
That'd
All
be good.
right, what is your number 9 then?
My number 9 game, and again, I had a hard time picking out these games because I almost put in Harvest Island from your.
Oh, yeah, that's good. We played that in the beginning of December.
Yep,
I
we did. I almost put it in, but it barely missed the list. Instead,
ah
I put in Succulent.
okay.
So it's sort of another harvest type of game, but this one barely won out because of trying to get those conditions where, like, I'm trying to build onto the sides or trying to get, contiguous or non-contiguous ones on the little gardens. So again, it's abstract, but it's got those end-game conditions that really makes it work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
like the cards in that game, how they're all different and give you different goals to work towards. And I mean, you're collecting 8 of these cards. I mean, that will be the end of the game trigger. So you are going to be
yeah,
getting a fair number of these cards that will help go in a direction for your
yep.
goals. I guess I don't know.
And it's got resource collection, and
Yeah.
you're claiming some of those cards, even if you're not going to fulfill those goals, your opponent might, and that's going to give you some extra stuff. So I think that that's really useful. The way that the little water droplets interact as like little, parts of a wild. So,
Yeah, I agree.
are you just dancing?
Yeah, I was just
Are you mocking me?
yes. Super Yum 2 yummier.
Super jump to the. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's good. That's good. Just dance. Just dance. All right, what's my number 9? My number 9 is The Fox in the Forest Duet.
I'm probably spoiling people in the chat,
no.
so I
Well,
should
yeah,
probably
maybe.
wait like 10 seconds before posting the link.
That's true. So it's a cooperative take on Fox in the Forest. I don't know if you've played Fox in the Forest, Michael, but you should.
No, I
And
have.
okay, good.
We played it, yeah.
And no, we have not played it, but maybe you played it before me.
No, I
Nope.
have not. I thought I'd played it then,
Mm-mm.
but maybe not.
It's very similar to Fox and the Forest Duet, except it's not cooperative. In the co-op version, you're moving this little disc every time somebody takes a trick in the direction of the person that takes the trick, and you're trying to collect these gems in the forest. And if you can clear the forest, you've beat the level, and so you go on to the next level. Sort of, you beat the game if you can collect them all. So it's played over like 3 rounds or something. If you
But you
can't do
have to
it by
get
that,
dangerous.
it
You
gets
have to
it
like
gets
move out to
dangerous.
the
Yeah,
edges
I know. So
because
if you
if you
fall
move to the
off,
edge,
yeah, you're
you can
gonna
roll out and get lost in the forest. But you have to get those gems in order to
Yeah. So
Escape from the
it's
forest.
definitely tricky. We played it on the easy mode and we won that. It was easy, like got that. And then we played it on the mediocre or medium level, and then we got crushed. So we have some learning. We need to, you know, work on our skills in this game a little bit. But for now, I'm enjoying it. I think it's clever. I don't know if I like it more than Fox in the Forest. I definitely like it though. It's probably around the
So Fox in
same.
the Forest is competitive, or
Yep.
cool.
Yep. And so all of the odd number cards are gonna do something, and you're trying to. I forget. You're trying to collect It's been a while since I played Fox in the Forest, but you're either trying to collect them or not collect them. I forget.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with Fox in the Forest Duet. The odd
it.
number cards
Yeah.
have powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But it's. I mean, it's another easy trick taking. Trey says Fox in the Forest was okay for me. The duet version seems fun. Yeah, I mean, so I like the cooperative nature. I mean, there aren't many two-player trick-taking games in general, and the fact that it's a cooperative one is also fairly unique. That I don't there aren't many, if there are any, besides that. Like I can't we've played two-player trick-taking games, Michael, but it's not I don't know if they were cooperative.
I think, as Shay says, he wonders if the co-op can be scaled up to 3 or 4 players. Thinking about it, I mean, we could split up the tricks that get taken. The problem is you have to have a certain number of moves available. So maybe there's a way that if one person passes, the other player has to play, and we have to play until all the cards are out of the hand. But if I play, Shrey could not play. Let's say we're partners. You know, if Shrey and I are partners, if I play a card, Shrey could not play one. If I pass, Shrey must play one. So maybe there is a way to play Fox and the Force Duet with 3 to 4 players.
I mean, yeah, there
So,
could be variants. You could make like a web, like a forest that's kind of a web that kind of like branches out to a specific player and you kind of move through the
ooh,
forest, but I don't really know how it would work with
like
like
a
the
move at three
double
spaces
cards.
toward the player. But I don't think you could play 4 tricks in order to, because there's too many paw prints that would
Well,
pop up.
that's what I'm wondering, like how that would all work. I mean, I'm sure there could be a another game in there somewhere where it kind of works out. Um, so we'll have to talk to Foxtrot Games about that.
Well, we'll take our standard
We'll make
13%.
it we'll make it work. I agree. I agree. All right, what's
So,
yours?
my number 8 is Seven Summits. Now, I
Oh,
like me some dice,
I like me some dice too.
and I like me some push your luck, and I am surprised where this fell or didn't fall on your list because you tend to like push your luck games more than I do
Mm,
because you love pushing your luck.
I do.
So
I really do.
I'm sort of surprised that this might have barely missed your list.
It did.
So,
It did.
um, but yeah, it was. It's got a lot of fun. You're trying to race your guys up these 7 mountains with 6 different colored dice, and you can use the colored dice to race up that particular mountain, or any die to race up Everest, which is always the hardest one to get all the way up. And if you're the first one up, you get more points than the other people. If you don't make it up at all, you're not going to get anything. But there are also in-game goals, which I love, like getting past the plateau or making sure that you have certain victory conditions or things like that. Um, I like the equipment cards that let you catch up or gain certain advantages, or it also has a little bit of leveling up aspect where you can level up your exploration in order to get bonuses where you can take dice from adjoining summits or you
That's
can
true.
add +1 or -1. I love dice manipulation and rolling, so that's always a plus for me.
I like the rainbows.
Of course you like the rainbow because it's got all 6 colors for you. And they're the
No,
bright, vivid colors, not the little weak pastel colors.
for me it
So
was just a bit light, I guess.
it
Like,
is light. But
um,
again, it's like, you want to play these games sometimes when you've got just a little bit of time and you don't want
yeah.
to think real hard.
That's
So,
probably true. It's just from the designers, they've done Sagrada and Speakeasy Blues, which we also learned, or Michael learned this month. Um,
yep,
I don't know. They do use dice in a nice way generally. So I think that what they do with these dice are fine. I don't know. For me, it's probably one that will be forgotten in the long run. I think it's a beautiful game. I don't mind playing it, so I'm happy to play it more. But it
yep.
works.
So there's one statistic called teamwork, where if your meeple reaches another meeple, then you can do teamwork, and then I can move one space, you can move one space, and we both go up on the teamwork track. It doesn't tend to work well with two players because both of us are getting that. And the only way to get a teamwork ahead of the other player is to play like one of the special cards, like what I had. Go down one step and then advance one track. Um, there was usually no incentive for me to either go after it or stay away from you, unless one spot for me was going to get me some sort of a resource that was going to shut you out of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really shoot for teamwork
Right.
ever.
But we ended up getting it anyway.
Yeah, we did
19
get
out
it
of
once,
all
I think.
of it.
Yeah.
So,
I kicked
but
you,
yeah,
but
it was
I
fun.
don't need to play again, right?
It's all in the challenge, right?
It's all in the challenge. Yeah, I like pushing my luck. I mean, you might roll that avalanche card and just have to start again, so.
Now, I probably should have found a picture
For
for
what?
this next game.
Oh, yeah, because you're not gonna have a link anywhere.
I'm not gonna have a link because it's not yet in
I don't even.
BGG.
Is Jason in the chat? Calling
He he.
Jason.
I saw his username in Twitch a little bit ago, but let me see. Hold on a second. I'm actually gonna link to your. I'm gonna link to this picture here.
There he is. Hello. Welcome. Thank you
I
for
am gonna
joining
link.
us today.
I'm gonna link to this picture, and then I'm sure that they can find it from there. So
Yes.
your
My number 8
8.
game that I learned in December is Surfs Up, which is a prototype from Jason in the chat here. I know that it is a mod on TTS. I don't know if it's an available mod yet. I know he was thinking about making an available mod, so you could check it out. But he's actually in the chat, so if you're in the chat and you're interested in Surfs Up, you might be able to catch a game with him. Catch a game. You see what I did there?
Catch a wave.
Catch a wave with him. It's a really interesting game where you're paddling out in the water and you're gonna try and catch this wave, and you're drafting these cards, placing them in order. There's a slight memory mechanic in this game, but it's not like overwhelming because it's only a few cards that you have to remember.
No, it's good. Yeah.
And you're trying to put these cards in order, in ascending order. However, if you paddle out too far, you can't put any wave cards behind where you've already paddled. So you're kind of like managing your movement and surfing out, managing your movement, your collecting of cards, and say, I'm going to collect this 2 card, and then I have this 5 card I want to play. So maybe I put it over 1 space, maybe I put it over 2 spaces, but there's duplicates of these wave cards. So you could put 2, 2, 3, 5, that's fine. You could do 2, 3, 4, 5. That's actually a straight.
That's even better.
It's a straight, so you can do a trick and stuff. So you're trying to do these different manipulations with the cards, and you're gonna perform tricks to get bonuses. And so actually, an interesting thing that Derek said in our game when we played was. It kind of reminded him of Welcome To, where you're making those lines in the streets on Welcome To, and it's just one wave that you're creating. So, it's easy to manage, but not, because people are trying to take these cards also. So,
But you've also got the tricks that you can play above each wave.
exactly.
Too.
So there's a lot going on in a very quick quick game. So I really like this one, and hopefully Jason.
I mean, you love drafting.
I do. I love drafting anyway.
And you love Welcome To, so this has got drafting with Welcome To in
like
there.
the lineup. Yeah. So I mean, it's a slight comparison. I mean, it's not, a big comparison, but it is something. And
Yeah.
hopefully
In-game
Jason
goals,
can
love
find
those.
find a publisher for that.
Yep. And see, I played it in November, so it didn't make my top 10 of December because
Oh yeah, you played it in
I played it last
November.
month. So, and there were a lot of games in that 4 to 14
Yes.
range that just were all jumbled in together. So that
And
was last month.
it's another one of those things where do you rate prototypes or not? But I feel like this one is good to rate because
This one is finished enough.
it feels really complete. He's
Yeah.
still working out some kinks, but it
Well,
feels really complete.
there are several different play styles that you can do with this game that I think that Jason is unsure which game to make as the official version. I think he should add all of them in there
As
as
variants.
this is a variant to play. Like, hey, if you want to draft starting goals, you can do that. If you want to have to purchase the in-game goals, you can do that. If you want one dealt to you at the start of the game, you could do that. Do you want to put the paddle out cards along with the wave cards and put them as one big deck? You could do that. I think there are plenty of awesome variants that can be done with this game, and they do change the playing experience significantly. I'm not going to say that one is better or worse. I did have some that I preferred over the others, but I think all of them are fun and different.
Yeah.
Different enough to actually play different
And even
variants of
if
this
you
game.
preferred one that you liked, I mean that's preference,
Exactly.
right? So somebody else
Exactly.
might like a different way, and so I think it's totally valid to play any number of ways. Derek said timing is everything in this game, which it is
Timing is everything.
because if the card comes up you want, you have to take it. You might miss out on a paddle out card, which is also really important, and
Yeah, because if
so
you don't paddle out, you're not going to catch the
you
wave
can't
that you
catch the
built.
wave.
And if you do nothing but paddle out, you're going to go beyond the wave,
Yes,
and
and
you're
you
not
won't
going to
have it.
have.
Oh my goodness, it's
And
crazy.
the same thing with the trick cards, because once you've paddled past a section, you can't put wave cards down behind you. You can't put trick cards down behind you. So timing is everything with that game. So yeah.
Absolutely. And Jason says, hit me up on BGG. Username is JMMOWERY if you would like a demo. So, in case you
Yep.
can't see the chat, if you're watching this after the fact, it's JMMOWERY on BGG. So you can just message him, and hopefully he'll
Yep.
get some more play tests out of it because
Yep.
it's a cool game.
Yeah,
I played it
Chase.
twice.
Yeah, Jason and Chase also created the Big Score, which I helped out with some of the.
That's still on the unplayed shelf for me.
That's still on your unplayed shelf. So hey,
I think
I
it's
played it.
better with more people though, right? So we haven't had
I
a chance for more
I think
people.
so. Yeah, I think it'd probably be better with more people. We've not tried it with two because we played it with three or four when we played it over at AJ's. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that was my
So
note.
publishers pick up Surfs Up.
Yeah, surf's
Contact
up.
Jason Mowery or Chase Williams if you want to license that game.
Cool.
So
Um,
yeah.
what is your number 7?
Oh, my number 7. Let's see.
Oh.
I almost could put Seven Summits there to make it an obvious number 7. Oh, Jason said we rock. No, you rock.
Rock lobster.
So, my number 7 game is Stellar,
Stellar.
which is a stellar two-player game, especially
I agree.
for space nerds like me. So,
And it's
so
another great two-player game. So if you're looking
yeah,
for more two-player games, I highly recommend this one.
highly
This
recommend it.
just missed my list too, and I think with more plays, I could go up in my ranking a little bit. I think there's a lot of interesting choices in this game, so it's a good
Right.
choice.
Because so you're trying to score stars times things in your little stars in the corner, not actual sun stars. Stars in the corner of these cards times the things you've got put in your notebook. But you're also scoring based on the top and middle and bottom sections. You're trying to get high point values. Well, the things with high point values have low numbers of stars, so it's a risk reward sort of thing. You're giving up one to get another. So you're sort of waiting on your opponent to figure out, did she totally abandon the bottom section so I can put in sort of mediocre cards? Is she going heavy on this top section so I can put in cards with a lot of stars? and what cards are you missing? Because I think I totally shut you out of one category in your notebook because you could not get the number 3 satellite to sort
Ah.
of go into number 3 on like one or two different columns of yours. So I think that there's a lot. What you want to give players, regardless of the board game, is interesting decisions. I think those two words sum up most of the board games that we play. What's the one thing you're looking for in a board game? Interesting decisions. Because if there are no interesting decisions, because all moves are the same, or there's an obvious play, the game doesn't work out.
Right.
So if you have interesting decisions, a game will be good. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that brings
So
me to my number 7, right?
you're number
My
7,
number
and
7, we actually played with the chat on a stream for Crowd Games. It's called Art Box. Now, this is a straight up party game with some drawing involved. So it won't be for everybody right off the bat, but I had a great time playing this. You don't have to have drawing skills, which is great because you're going to roll dice and they have a circle, a square, a line. I mean, it's like things that you're drawing are easy, right? And
well, you're gonna draw 4 things too,
four
because there's
things.
4 dice.
And so,
So
yeah,
you have to
it's good.
create the Mona Lisa with 4 things.
With 4 circles. Create the Mona Lisa with 4 circles.
So we had Saturn, right? And you had no circles.
No circles. I had the word
no
Saturn. I'm
straight
like, that
lines.
should be easy. I'll roll it, it'll be fine. And so I
You
created
had
this.
squares and triangles.
I created Saturn with a square as the planet, and then 3 triangle as the belt. So there were 3 triangles as the belt. I'm like, nobody's gonna get this. This is ridiculous. And then people got it. Some people did it, but some people did. And so you're trying to like make these pictures with like common shapes, and it's just fun, and it presents a lot of laughs. Bye, Laura. And so I had a great time playing that, even though we didn't play with the correct rules because we were playing 2 players with the chat, so we had to kind of like make it our own.
Made rules,
but it's fine. It worked.
You can tell how this is going to work as a normal game, as a normal party game with people around.
Yeah. So whenever
we
have
think it's a good variant.
Whenever we have our next stream day with so we had a cool day yesterday. We'll talk about that later. But whenever we have that next 2-hour blockage of just playing with the chat, I think we should play Art Box again because that was a lot of fun. And
sounds good.
I think that's it's fun because people are like, what the heck is this? I created a heart, but it looked like an elephant. So the elephant was another option, and people are choosing elephant.
So random cards come up in addition to the cards that we have drawn, and so randomly elephant pops up, and Steph is like, "Oh no, this heart is going to look like an elephant." Did you see it before someone mentioned it in the chat?
Elephant was a card that was revealed. So it was a random card draw.
Right,
so,
that's what I'm saying. It was random. So
like I didn't know I wasn't supposed to make it look like an elephant. I don't know.
No, I'm saying when you saw the word elephant appear in those random cards, did that make you worry that
it didn't make me worry until somebody said elephant in the chat. I'm like, oh yeah, I see it. I see it now. I'm like, oops.
Because the triangle at the bottom of the heart looked like
it looked like a trunk. Yeah.
It was like a
how
face
else are you
elephant.
gonna draw an elephant? Like that was perfect. Like
face, yeah.
Circumstance. So that was fun. That was fun.
That makes that game really good. So. And maybe it could have made my list, but it was already on your list, so I didn't feel like I was pressured to put it on my list.
That's fair.
Number, what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6 for me is In Front of the Elevators.
Ooh.
So this is a really interesting game where we're put. Is that your tail wag?
Yeah.
So a game where you have 7 different family members times 5 colors. One family member for each of the 5 colors. And each player plays a color and takes turns putting people in line waiting for these elevators. Only 3 or 4 people are going to get on these elevators, though. Um, so,
Very crowded elevator.
yeah, and girls will get in front of boys. Boys will get in front of mothers. Mothers get in front of fathers. Fathers get in front of grandmothers. Grandmothers get in front of grandfathers. And grandfathers get in front of little girls because grandfathers don't care. Old men just don't care. And if there's a little lost child that pops up, that will take that color's card back to the back of the line because, oh, hey, little girl, are you lost? And they don't score anything if they happen to end up in front of the elevator line. So I think it's a really unique. I'm not going to say rock paper scissors because it's a lot more complex than that. But you get that one beats another beats another beats another sort of mechanic, and I think that it really works out, especially with 2 players where we're playing 2 different colors of cards and not just one. So that I think that's really interesting. Dan had mentioned that you tend to lose control when it's 3 or more players, but it seems like it really works with 2. Now we haven't played it with 3, so we don't know.
I mean, I'm still open to trying it with more players just to see how it differs. But I agree. I mean, I really like playing with 2 and having those colors. So I think it was really interesting. I love the Sashi and Sashi games. I mean, they always are different and unique. So.
Well, I've seen a lot of the Japanese games that you've brought into the house, and
you are worried.
I usually set my bar really low because they're often not that great.
No, they're great. Shut it.
But no, they're rare. They're not great, or they're hard to get in the U.S. But they're usually not great. This one I enjoyed, so it was good. So your number 6.
My number 6. Hey, is another 2-player card game. It is called Air, Land, and Sea. I guess we played a bunch of 2-player card games this month.
We've got a lot of 3-player games that really need to be played.
Yeah, so... the box is very, very big right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Air, Land, and Sea was actually quite a surprise for me because I am generally really not into the whole like duel for locations type person, like Schotten, Totten, and whatever. I don't remember all those like Battle Line and everything. I'm not a big fan of those games. This would
work for you.
This is very much like it. However, I find the 6 cards that you are given, they all are fairly unique and they offer different abilities, so it's kind of easy to control what you're doing, but not at the same time. And like you think you're gonna win, and then you suddenly realize you can't win, so you have to withdraw. And so the later it takes you to withdraw, the more points the other person will get. So you kind of want to make sure if you have like a really bad hand to start, you'll be like, withdraw, like then they get like very little points. Right. And so you just start again, and then you play until a certain point. And so I think it's really interesting on the timing. And then the minute you realize you're gonna lose, well, oh god, now I just gotta withdraw and like.
Right. Well, that makes timing everything on that game as well, because I don't want to put that dagger into your heart until after you've played your 4th, 5th, 6th card, and then I want to show you, hey, you have no way of. Number 1, you can't flip that card over if I wait till late to play it. Number 2, I get all those tasty victory points. So yeah. You destroyed me the first game.
I know. You didn't even get 1 win on me that game. That was good. Yeah. And then you kicked butt on stream, of course.
Or vice versa. I can't remember.
Ridiculous.
So yeah. My number 5 and your number 5 are
you went totes blurry. You went totes blurry.
You know what? Maybe I can. A lot of times the thing that works is to shut off my camera and start it again. Turn off video, turn on video. How about now? Boom. See? It works every time.
Nice.
Every time. So things that you learn being, having to deal with this stuff all the time. Our number 5s are the same.
Okay, well that's great. Crossover.
it makes it convenient, and it just happened to work out that way. I did not force it that way.
I
It
thought I
actually
thought this
worked
would
out
be a
that
little bit higher on your end, so I'm glad that we had a crossover. I think this is our first like
way. Yeah,
crossover for what it's worth.
we had one last month, I
Did we?
think,
Oh,
or it was really close anyway. So our number 5 is the Lost Expedition.
Expedition.
So
I am becoming
different.
really a fan of exploration games. I really am
Yeah,
liking them a lot. Survival games like this.
co-op survival. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. This
Um,
one is uh really great because you're like managing these cards over the course of the day, and the way that they are played are different at the beginning, and then the second
yeah,
phase of
day
the
versus
day.
night.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
so it's like that. I think that's like probably the best thing about the game is like
I agree.
how that works. So that's a really cool mechanism.
And there's actually a really cool hidden trader mechanism. So, like, if your uh, co-op person manages to play something that is going to totally kill you off,
Shut it.
actually, it doesn't have a hidden trader mechanism, but our game did have a hidden trader
I
mechanism
didn't mean
because
to kill us.
I'm like, why did you not play it the other way?
I don't know. I can't think 5 steps in advance. I just say, oh, needs to be played.
Yet you love abstracts, so
Yeah, I do.
strange. So yeah,
I'll do
well,
better next time. I'll do
you have to
better.
look 5 steps ahead in abstracts usually. So, you also are a big fan of this sort of theme, like Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh yeah, that's a
Um,
good one.
so yeah, I mean, so it's that. I think it's that same sort of theme, and you are drawn to that. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah,
I agree.
uh, yeah. This game, I think the game really works as you're trying to. It's resource allocation and survival and your explorers are 3 resources in this game. So and they will likely be killed off.
I
But as long
agree.
as one of the explorers makes it, and they're real life explorers too. So it has both men and women explorers that are going out from many different nationalities. So you got a lot of good diverse representation there, all going to try to reach this lost expedition area, the city of Z or something like that, which is like the mystical El Dorado.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, it really works. The art is in that old 1930s comic book style, and so I like it. So
I
I'm not
agree.
big on art, but it
Yeah, no,
works for
I
me.
like it too. And this came out a few years ago, right? And so now there's an expansion that's out. So we'll have to check out that
Yeah.
expansion sometime, see what it offers.
Osprey,
Um,
did Osprey send that to you?
yeah, that was nice of them. I was interested in it because I've been playing a lot of exploration games, so I requested it.
Occasionally, you get sent these older titles, 2 or 3 years old, um, and hey, I mean, we're more than willing to show them off. So,
Yeah.
publishers, if you have any games that you'd like to send to us, we're more than happy to review them and maybe get them a little bit of recognition 2 or 3 years after they've come out. So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Fountain of Youth expansion. Thanks, Legends. Yep, that's what it's called. We have it here. I haven't really looked into what it offers, but we have to actually win the normal mode first, I guess.
Well, we won the easy mode, right?
We won the intro slash easy mode, but we didn't win like the standard mode. My fault.
Well, maybe.
Oh yeah, they made it into another theme. I think it was like the dread.
Oh, Judge Dredd.
Oh,
I have the law.
dread, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Legend. Yeah. I don't know that theme at all, so I don't know how it works or anything. Gaze into the fist of dread.
That's what I'm laughing at.
Dan with all caps. Never would have thought.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a double crossover or crossover. Not a double
Yep.
crossover.
So, my number 4. You are going to be surprised, and it is not a new to you game. but you do not like games with this much cutthroat in it, and I don't mind it at all. So my number 4
Speakeasy
is
Blues.
Speakeasy Blues. Yep, you guessed it. So
Yeah.
there it is.
I mentioned it briefly as earlier when we were talking about Seven Summits because same designers, and I think there's
Yep.
a lot of great things and great mechanics in this game, except the take that.
I don't think it's that much. It's not just take that. With 2 players, you know who's going to get take thatted. So I was playing all sorts of cards against you, and I even tried. So I know you don't like take that sort of games. So when I was dealt my 2 different speakeasies, there was one with crime and one with not, and so I chose the one with not. And there went my camera again. I chose
You're
the one
fine.
with not
You're fine.
just to make sure.
Yeah, you were
um,
fine.
I was fine. Well, it was blurred out on my side, so I don't know.
It was blurry and
Anyway,
then it went back, but yeah, I agree. I knew you would like Speakeasy Blues.
I do like it. It's got dice manipulation, which I
I
love,
really like
and
the way they use the dice in this game. I think it's clever.
yeah, you pull them off locations, and
Hmm.
that makes them available for you to put dice onto location. So basically, you have 10 dice, 2 each of 5 different colors. 3 of the colors are put on the locations, and 4 dice are held out. So on your turn, you're going to remove 2 dice of matching colors. So you've only got 3 different combinations you can choose. Then you're going to roll those dice and then choose from one of the 3 pairs of dice that are out there. So you could choose the green dice, the orange dice, or the blue dice, for example, and put those dice out there. Or for $1, you can re-roll all those dice, and then you'll have 3 different choices. Um, and we'll have different society characters that can modify those rolls if you bribe them with a little alcohol, maybe get them drunk a little bit. So I think designing Warehouse 13, I'm a big fan of dice manipulation, as
Oh
you might
yeah, for
guess.
sure.
So dice manipulation is great.
Yes.
So, and then assigning the
Legend says,
location.
I'm about to play Pandemic the Cure right now, talking about dice games. Well, we like that
Yep.
game here.
Just made me play it a few years ago.
Yeah, oh,
It was
yeah.
decent, Dan says.
Just made everybody
Um,
play it several, like when she was working on it. So we all played it. I know I played
Oh,
it
because
when
it's
it was.
Arcana. I gotcha.
Yeah, I played it before the Kickstarter happened, and then obviously after the Kickstarter. And I like it, and I've played it several times, and then it's like I like you said after we finished playing this game shows you all the highs and the lows in the game. like
Yeah,
it,
because it's on your maybe shelf, and so that's why we played it.
that's
It's
why we
like,
played it.
but actually, when I pulled it off the shelf, you actually said, "I think you'll really like this game,"
I did. I
and
thought
hey,
you would.
it made my top 10. So, yeah, it did.
Nice.
Yeah, so rated at number 4, and initially I'm not even thinking about Speakeasy Blues. It's not on my radar at all for the top 10. And then I look through your stats that you messaged to me, and I looked through and I was like, oh yeah, Speakeasy Blues, that was
I'm
good.
like, yeah, because again, this is off of the maybe shelf that you haven't played necessarily, but I've played. I'm like, do I want to keep it? Do I not want to keep it?
Right,
Um,
but you
so
did keep it. You did keep it.
I've always
So
kept it because I want to love it, and I generally like it. And then you play a dang card that steals my card that scores me 10 points, and then I lose by a crap ton, and then I'm like, I hate this game. like and so it's like
so
I
good.
don't like the take that in the game. However, I do like the general overall feeling of the game.
You just have to mitigate it.
Yeah,
So
it's true. Okay, my number 4 was already talked about In Front of Elevators. I really like this game. I think it's clever. I like the card manipulation. The game is deceiving because you only have 2 cards that you can play each turn, but do you want to take a blue card to try and screw over Michael with the card placement, or do you take your red card because you want to place it really well? And so it's like you want all the cards, and you want to try and this boy, the brown boy hasn't been played yet, so I could take that brown card, maybe get that boy, so I can cancel out the boys in the line. So all these things are kind of going through your head, like, can I get these sets to make my guys go up in the line? And so I really like all of that mental, like, struggle. Like,
Plus, if there are 4 dads out, 2 in one line, 2 in another line, and 3 dads are going to clear, if you put a third dad in the line, you want to protect your 2 dads and get their 2 dads. Let's say they're in different lines. I'm trying to search for that brown dad. If that brown dad hasn't been played, and if there's a brown out there, that's the one I want to draft, hopefully picking the dad.
Hopefully getting the card you want. Yeah. And so there's all these thoughts that go through your mind when you're like taking your next card and how you can play the next card. And I mean, I think it's really good. So.
And I think that strategy is what made it go up as high as it did on my rankings. So yeah. I think for me, rank 7 on down could be mixed up a little bit depending on the day. I think 6, starting within the front of elevators going up, I think those are my really best 6 games.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because there's always that line. This is the top tier, and this is everything below it. So,
right.
Yeah. Or the middle tier for me, really. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, in the front of the elevators. Number 3 for me is probably going to shock Steph. Might shock Dan a little bit.
High Frontier.
You know it is actually High Frontier for all. So we played High Frontier online, and despite not playing a full game of it, I played enough of it to know. All right, so it was really frustrating not being able to know which things I should purchase, which of these different components I should get. But from what I understand, High Frontier has an intro version and some suggested starting packets that you can create. I think Jeff said next time we play, he'll actually have starting packets made up with different things in there. And since it's an auction game, that's your pouty face?
I don't want to play again.
You don't have to play again unless they sponsor you for another game.
I know, if they sponsor me, I'll do it.
But I think it'll go a lot better the second time. I think the auction mechanic needs to be gotten used to, and I think the way for me to do that is to play a single player game to try to work some of these issues out. Which of these components work well together? Which ones are complete dead ends? Because I like what it's trying to do. I mean, I see a really crunchy game, and people who know me know I love crunchy games, which surprises you, Steph, because I never want to play crunchy games like early in the day or late at night.
And see where I'm like, let's play Feast for Odin at all times. Now,
yeah,
let's play.
Yeah, and that's not me, because I've got to get into that mindset, or if it's a new game, I have to read through that rule book, and that sometimes takes a while, especially with a crunchy game like this. But I think that despite the initial frustration, is really there's a really solid game there, and I think that might even surprise Jeff, because Jeff messaged you and said, "Was Michael okay? He seems sort of down about the game." No, I like the game, and as this video proves, I mean, I've rated it my 3rd best game.
That is fairly high.
It's almost my 2nd best game, so I sort of flip-flopped on numbers 2 and 3. So
that's fair.
You probably know what the rest of mine are. So
I'm glad you liked it, for what it's worth. I'm glad. I knew you would. I knew I probably wouldn't, but
so I need to sell my High Frontier 1 and probably acquire High Frontier 4. So you don't have to play it. It'll go on my shelf. My shelf of reject games. The ones that end up on the shelf that you just don't even look at.
It's like a dead zone.
It's a dead to you shelf is what that is. So I know where it is too.
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
what a shelf is.
Kitchen.
No, those are the unplayed games.
Yeah, which is also the dead zone.
Yeah, but you have to actually put them in your played
Oh,
collection
that's
now.
right. I have to first play them. Then they can be dead to me. That's right.
Then
That's
they're in
right.
the dead to your shelf.
Got it. All right. My
That
number
shelf is off
three.
in the corner.
My number three is Adventure Games Volcanic Island. I like this one probably better than the other one we started. So we've started now two of the three. Or there's three or
Yep,
four.
we've
I don't know.
started
It's
Dungeon
three,
and
I think.
Volcanic Island,
Yeah.
and if there were more hours in the day, we'd finish them up.
Well,
We also have to do this from memory,
I'm more
so
actively interested in finishing the volcanic island. I like the theme more. It has that kind of adventure, like
hmm
survival type feeling, even though we don't even really know what we're doing, really. But you're out in the wild. You're trying to get there. So I really enjoyed it, and we played it on the stream, the first part. So I want to play the rest of it. I'm interested. It's a
again, it's that Lost Ruins of Arnak, Lost Temple of Lost Ruins of Arnak, and
kind of feeling,
Lost
yeah.
Expedition. Same sort of feel for you, I think.
Yeah, and I really like
Um,
that.
yeah,
Seventh Continent, all that. I really like
yeah,
that. So, this really worked well for me. And if you
yep,
haven't checked out the adventure games, I highly recommend it. It is a once
yep.
played through type game where I think there's four parts, and each part's about an hour or so. So you work your way through, and you've experienced it at that point. So yeah, I'm excited for this series. I like where it's headed. I like this one probably the best so far. I do want to play through the other ones too. I mean, they're still on the shelf. I want to play them and
Yep.
see about what they offer.
I'm not sure how much I like the timer mechanism on this, where if at a certain point it just says, "Oh, hey, the rainstorm is here. You need to run to the whatever area," and you're going to miss out on something whether you go one way versus another way. I guess I'll have to see how all that plays out because it might make a difference. It might not make a difference.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure if there is, if there's one best way to do it, or if something is going to totally shut me out of winning if you've gone one way versus another. It almost seems like when we went into the house, when we sneaked into the house, and if we didn't get that, how would that affect the game? So
There might be another
I'm,
way to get that information.
that's the thing. I'm not. And plus, we're not even sure. We're not even sure whether this stuff is necessary or not.
Right.
But if it's not necessary, then
What is? We
why
don't we
get
don't
it?
know. We don't know really what we're doing, so
Exactly. So just sort of wandering around right now. So I think time will tell whether that game will rise for me or not because
that's
it
fair.
didn't make my cut, but I
It
did
could.
enjoy the play.
Yeah,
It
it could
could.
at over time, yeah.
It depends.
Yeah, all right.
But by the time that happens, I mean I will have already played it. So
Well, right. I mean, yeah, it's too late now. We didn't finish it this month.
my number two did not make your list.
Aw.
So Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef. Whoops, there's the link as
Oh,
well.
yeah,
Hey, thanks for following.
this is just off the list. Thank you for following.
This is a
Yay!
little cheap. Boing, boing,
Da
boing.
boing, da boing, da boing, da boing, da. He's so cute.
So yeah, Tidal Blades again. Hey, why do I like this game? Dice manipulation, um, worker placement. I like all of those things. Resource denial. If I know that you're headed for something and I can go to that space and block you from getting it, I'm going to do it. So
Yeah.
love all of those things.
No,
So
I mean, I get that. Now we've only played it once, so I might not be judging it fairly. We're gonna play it again. We'll probably play it on Sunday, since
probably
I've
play it on
already
the stream.
told several people that we'll probably play it on Sunday. And that game, the second game will probably go better than the first game, and I'll probably like it a little bit more. I do think it's a beautiful game, so I think there's definitely the production quality is fantastic. I like what it's doing for the most part.
hmm
So yeah, I
Yeah.
just I
So
think time will tell where it falls in like
um,
the
I, yeah. I'm not sure, and there's several threads on this on BGG about the rival, and I'm not sure how good the rival is with regards to uh, with combating the monsters and everything, and how that mechanic works. But I'm not sure how to get around using him. Um, because in a two-player game, those monsters in the fold can become really difficult.
Yeah.
Um, and the winning conditions and loss conditions are sort of become fuzzy and unclear when you've got the rival on there. So I think that this game would probably shine a lot better with three players, with three, and
Yeah.
even better
Well,
with four.
why does there have to be a variant for two players is my question. I mean, obviously
Right.
they've done development and stuff to make it so, but I don't know enough like how it would play with more players, how it would play versus solo
Well, here's the
versus
stats. This is weird too. Solo, best 6%, recommended 59%, not recommended 35%. So that's solo. Two player, not best with two players. 68% say recommended, 32% say not recommended. And that is, I wouldn't look at that 68% and say, oh, yeah, good with two. 32% saying not recommended is enough to warn me, hey, this might not be a good two-player situation. Three-player, 80% say best, 20% say recommended. Four-player, 21% say best, 47% say recommended, 31% say not recommended. So maybe there's too little that you can do with four players. So it seems like there's a really, really sweet spot at three players.
it does seem that way. So I would be interested in trying that with three players and seeing like how it does change. But yeah, it's something to be. Again, I just haven't played it enough to really give my. So it kind of it's a solid game. I know that much, and that's why it's just off the list. It's just like I don't know where it will fall in the long run. That's all. Um, um, so let's see. My number two is
A game I have not played.
you have not played this one. It is called the Transcontinental. This was just on Kickstarter, and Shrey's like, "Let's play," and I'm like, "No, no trains, no."
That's a bad
However,
impression.
that's an impression of me.
No.
That was my impression of me. And so this is while it is a train game, it's definitely more of a Euro feeling, and it's beautiful. That helps too. But it has this weird kind of like action selection slash worker placement type mechanic where you're placing your guys in a line that will all get activated in the line. And then the train gets to the end, something happens, and then any guys you have remaining will get placed, and the train will come back in the backwards direction. So you're gonna possibly activate a couple of the same actions if you kept a guy in the round. But it's a weird timing situation on how the actions are activated and how you can manipulate the resources you've collected. And so you can't use resources that aren't on the train. If they're in the yard, you can't use them, but if they're on the train, they're going to these places. So this train is activating as you go, and so you're trying to manipulate the train to have the items that you want, and so it feels very unique, which is good. Now, what a problem I might have with the game is that four players is just not great. And so, is that going to be a problem in the long run? I don't know. But three players works very well. I'm guessing two players will work fairly well. It also has a weird situation where the actions open up as the game goes on. You get more and more actions to select from. So, it starts off very tight, where everybody can only select actions that are very limited spaces, but as the game goes on, you open up more and more and more and more, so it gets very loose. So is that also a problem? I don't know. It
So
doesn't
there
seem
are
it doesn't seem to be a problem.
There
But
are only 5 votes for the anywhere between 4 to 6 votes on the recommendations on BGG. 5 votes for 4 players. 2 say best, 1 says recommended, 2 says not recommended, and that's quite a bit. And that's probably because of the issues that you bring up. Um, 3 people say best at 3, 2 say recommended, 1 says not recommended. It's an 80-20 split for 2-player for best and recommended. Nobody says not recommended, so 2 players is probably the sweet spot for Transcontinental.
we are on number 2 right now, James.
We,
This is my number
yep.
2. This the second best game I learned in December. So yeah, I playing with 4 players was just not fun. It was more work and just not. I was getting shut out of things left and right, and it wasn't a fun situation. So I can't say I recommend it with 4. I really enjoyed it with 3, where you can kind of get in some little like sneaky moves. And I'm guessing I'll like it with 2-player. Just it will be mostly open. I mean, there will be slight like I'm taking that action, you can't have it kind of situations, but I don't think it's gonna be, it will be more open, right, with 2-player because just less things will be taken. So it doesn't really scale on the board for multiple players. It's just it will be different. It will just play out a little differently. So I do think the sweet spot is probably 3 players, but I do think it will work with 2 as well. So I'm excited to see it whenever it hits production. So we'll be playing that, I'm sure.
Yep.
2021.
So James just asked what number are we on, and eventually, when I start hosting Steph's stream from up here, whenever I do that, hopefully I can make it so I can change out the graphics as we go, and sort of do that on the fly. But yeah, I'm just putting in the links for now. So, but eventually it'd be good to have the little graphics come up.
Yeah,
This
a
is
little
number
one,
three,
two,
number
three, four.
two.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that yeah, we can make that work. Make
Yeah,
it
that
work.
way when people watch this on YouTube or something, they can just click through and see
See the
what I,
number. Yeah.
yeah. And then when they see one that they like, they can go, oh, I'm going to start from
Oh
here.
yeah.
Or you could do that with time signatures if you wanted to in your little YouTube description. But anyway,
Just more work for me. More work for
more work for
me.
you.
I'll do
Well,
it. I'll do it. Maybe.
maybe. So what if you get paid more?
Hey, if I start a Patreon and then people want that, then I'll do that.
Hey, there you go.
So.
Um, my number 1 was your number 1 last month. So you guys probably already know that it is Carnegie. Um, so yeah, you asked me last night if I wanted to play Carnegie, and I'm like, no, I've played it a couple times this month already. And you're like, you're like, oh, I would want to play it 10 times in a row, and you actually played it 2 times in a row last
Yeah, last night, Shrey, Derek, and I were just like, let's play. And then we finished the game, we're like, let's play.
And see, you guys might have said, amongst yourselves, wow, maybe Michael doesn't like this game so much. I do like this game, but
No, I knew you
Steph,
liked it. I knew you
Steph
liked it.
knows it's not me to play a game that I've just ended up playing, unless maybe it's Battlestar. Then I might do it. So, um, yeah, so Carnegie, it's got all sorts of interesting, crunchy decisions. Initially, it was hard to figure out what sort of things was going to benefit me. And then when I thought I had it figured out at the end of game 1, which I totally destroyed you on, I tried to implement some of my thoughts in game 2 and get utterly destroyed because of poor decisions. I think I should have just not paid any attention to myself and just gone on gut instinct instead of trying to figure it out.
Right. Well,
So,
right. I mean, so when you first play that game, it's really hard to just know the proper strategy because there are so many strategies to try. And with 2 players, every game will be different because there's so many discs that are blocking each space. So you have to plan for the timeline, you have to plan for the map, and so there's no proper strategy when playing a game without already
Timing is
knowing
everything. Right.
how it kind of all works and flows together. And so I think that's okay. I mean, you might not win your first game, but you'll see how it can all work, and you'll go in the next game understanding it better. And
Yep.
so I think the game is just brilliant. I've played it 9 times now, and I just want to keep playing it.
Yep.
So that's a good number one to have.
Yep.
I'm glad it was your number one. My number one was Hallertau.
And the only
Hallertau.
reason it's not on my list is because
You haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it yet.
And I played this on a mod on TTS, and because it's Uwe Rosenberg, and I want to play it as much as possible because Uwe Rosenberg, obviously. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's not a 10 out of 10 for me. So it falls below like a lot of other Rosenberg games that are a 10 out of 10 for me, and even Le Havre, which is a 9 out of 10 for me, which is fairly
I've
high.
got two. I've got two 10 out of 10 games. So
That's not very many.
that's not very many.
I'm like, all my 10 out of 10 games will be my top 10 games ever. That'll be my top, no, and now it's at like 12. I have 12 10 out of 10s. I can't keep it because there's been good games in the past few years. But Carnegie is really close to a 10 out of 10, just so you know. But it's not quite there. But yeah, Hallertau is like an 8.5 for me, and it was my game of the month. And there's a lot of different things happening with the cards. You're trying to like score all these cards. You can't plan for the cards, which is I think a lot of people's complaint, and that you might just get a really bad card draw and you can't do it, and you've wasted an action getting these cards, and it could be swingy based on the cards that you get. You might fall into some good luck with the cards. So I can understand the complaints about the cards, and otherwise it's just pretty much a resource management game of farming. You're planning, growing, using this to move along your houses. You're moving these little houses along, and you're trying to score points and get new workers and stuff using this house mechanic. So it didn't feel very different than other like resource management type games, but it does. I really like how you use the workers in the game, because each space has places for workers. The first person will play 1 worker, second person will play 2 workers, third person will play 3 workers, and then it's locked out. But going into the next round, they only remove the topmost worker spots. So if it's totally full, then they only remove the top row, which is 3 workers. So if you want to use that action, it's going to cost you 3 workers. So I think the way that the mechanic for the workers is used is really interesting, and it will be a blocker for the next round, depending on what you do in the previous round. So I think that's really clever. I like how the house movement works. And so I think there's a lot of good things happening in this game to make it like a better game than. I don't really like Nursford so much, so I prefer that to I prefer Hallertau to Nursford, for example. It's somewhere along the lines of Glass Road. It's somewhere in the Glass Road Hallertau line. But I do think that you'll like this game, Michael. I think I think it's a solid choice for the month for the game of the month for me.
Dan says that he thinks that you might want to eventually house rule the card draws.
Sure.
Maybe like draw two, pick
Draw
one.
two, keep one. I think that's
Yeah.
an easy house rule that you can do, and that kind of happened in Feast for Odin too, where I played
Keep Broden too.
Feast for Odin as well, where some people prefer drawing 2 cards, keeping 1, versus just drawing off the top, where you kind of get lucky or not. So I could see that, but also thank you, James.
James asked, how many games have you played so far this year? And the
0.
answer is 0.
Now to jump on that is that I told Shrey and Dan to learn lots of rules, so I'm gonna learn like 20 games today while you play Advanced Civ, and I'm gonna learn like start the year off with like, I'm learning all these games.
Oh my goodness. So yeah.
But Michael wants to play Advanced Civ because that's usually what he plays on New Year's Eve, generally.
Usually, yeah. So One year we played on New Year's, then switched it to New Year's Eve. So James brags about having 2 wins in one year. And I think since I usually have to work on New Year's Eve, probably better if we switched back to New Year's. So, except now isn't New Year's gonna start? Does it go backwards or forwards? I can't remember from year to year. Anyway, eventually we might have to change it again. But yeah, we have a yearly advanced Civ game. Actually, it's Mega Civ usually ever since Mega Civ got created. This year we can't get together, so we're probably going to play on civ.roleplay.com or net or whatever. So
That makes sense. So
yeah,
I'll be playing whatever the crew wants to
whatever.
play today, but I'll get in some games today. I won't make today a 0 game day because that would be sad. Tomorrow I'll post my year
Today,
to date stats.
well, today might be a 0 game day depending on when we finish Advanced Civ. So because we haven't started yet.
That's true. That's true for you. Well, it depends on how you. So that's always a question, right? Do you count it based on the day that you play it, or do you the day that you finish it?
It doesn't matter to me because I haven't used the stats yet, but I'm going to be. Susan says
Susan,
time
time
to
to game. She's
game.
like she shows up in the chat just to yell at us.
Susan is waiting. She's like, advanced Civ time.
That's zip time. All right, gee whiz, gosh. I also before we cancel, I just wanted to mention we are planning a Feld Day and an Uwe Rosenberg Day because
Yep.
we got those final the community challenges completed.
Dr. Stein spent
Dr. Sign,
all his points.
since you're in the chat, Dr. Sign, what game of Stefan Feld would you most like us to play? Out of curiosity. Because Michael hasn't played several, you know. I don't. Have you played Trajan? No, you've played Trajan, right, Michael?
I have not.
Oh, see. We gotta get Michael in on some of the Feld
That'd be
games
good.
that he needs to. Um, bye, James. Thanks for hanging out. Because he hasn't played Delphi or Trajan, maybe Macau. I don't. I mean, we have
I played
Macau.
Macau.
You've played Macau. You
Yes.
like Macau. It's dice, of course.
Yes.
So I don't know. There's a lot of great Feld titles, and we will be playing Castle of Tuscany for sure because I have it and it's on the review shelf, and we'll be showing that off because it's a new release of Feld. But otherwise, I'm not sure what we should play for Feld. And I know Dr. Sign was all in on Feld, so I was just curious what Dr. Sign's opinion was. But maybe Dr. Sign left. I don't know. But yeah, so we got to get Michael in on some Feld goodness. And I don't know what we're going to play for Rosenberg. We could actually play 2 games at once. Rum and Pirates. Well, we do have it on the unplayed shelf, Dan. So you can laugh all you want, but it is on the unplayed shelf. We could play it.
Yeah, it wasn't a review copy. We ended up
No.
buying it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's one of his least favorite. I mean, fan favorites, like the least fan favorite or something out of all of his games. People do not like this game.
but we'll play it. We play everything.
Oh, I do want to play it because I haven't played it. So yeah, I do want to play it. And nobody's yes. Dad says yes. Whatever that means is that yes. People are right.
People are right. For a change. Wow.
Burn.
Burn.
All right, I can let Michael go play his games because I know that they're all itching to play, and yeah, I'll be back next week. I'll probably be talking about my favorite games of the year that I learned, and I'll do a recap of the games that I played this week and the games that I talk about next week. So catch us on Sunday nights starting at 5 Central, and this week we'll probably play Tidal Blades. And we're gonna go raid the Brothers Murph because they're playing games all day today. I think they're gonna be playing To Want to Sue You, or if they're not already, they might already be playing To Want to Sue You. So we'll be back.
Do that.
Yeah, we'll be back Sunday, and every Wednesdays we like to play games as well. So if you're in the mood for a calendar, because it is a new year after all, I'm just gonna put a link to my awesome gaming
nobody
calendar.
knows what day it is.
Well, today, most people know that today's January 1. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Michael. So if you need a calendar, I have a supply that I can send out. So they are beautifully rainbow gaming calendars. So those are available for sale in Steph's shop Equid.
I need to find out how to change my chat to blue. I cannot figure out.
You can't right click your name. Right click on your name.
Hold on a second. I gotta get
He's
it
like,
back.
I want to see if I can do it. Hello.
Right click my name? No, I cannot right click my name.
Okay, click on your name. There's
if
a way
I click on my name, it says edit profile and edit chat identity, and edit profile does not do it.
What about chat identity? I don't know how I did it once. My mom says I have my calendar and it's gorgeous.
Name color.
There you go. Blue. I changed mine to red, so it shows up as red.
Oh, I'm yellow badge now. Check that out.
Check it out. Oh yeah, so yesterday we had a stream.
Now wait a second.
What?
That's green.
That's not green. It's blue.
It's green on my screen. I'm gonna refresh.
It's blue on my screen. We had a Tabletop Live Network Day, and that was so much fun to be a part of with a lot of excellent streamers here on Twitch. And it was to ring in the New Year's and just have support channels on Twitch. And so that was like so much fun. We played Wits and Wagers, Epic Geek, and everybody had a lot of fun. And Jedi was the big winner. But we got to play. We got to play with the prediction feature in Twitch, and so that was like also. It was also
she had like almost 50,000 points.
She just crushed us, like absolutely.
She started off with 200 and got 50,000 by the time it was done.
Oh,
and Laura had like 40.
Yeah, she was.
Well, she spent it. She did spend it all.
She spent a lot of it by the end. Yeah, so she did well. Prey won a calendar, and Prey needs to message me the name I need to address it to. So if Prey's watching this, message me.
I don't see Prey on the stream.
I know, but maybe Prey will watch it after the fact. Who knows?
It's just in case you need it to whisper to Prey. It's Prey.
I already have him in a whisper, and I messaged. But sometimes people don't see it, but they watch videos instead. So it was a successful day, and happy gaming and New Year's for everybody for stats. BG stats. Make sure to mark it, Michael. Who you play with.
I have to link it and everything, and so I gotta figure out how it works.
You got this.
And now is not the best time because I'm about to have to start everything up for Advanced Civ.
All right, he's itching to go. So
I'm not itching to go. That's fine.
I will see. I'm itching to go to play games. I'm gonna play some games.
They are itching for me to go. So yeah.
Yes. Later, alligators.
Bye, everybody.
We will be back Sunday, 5
Sunday.
Central.
Yep.
We're gonna do a raid in a second.
That's right.